Well, Pastor Benny, first of all, thank you so much. We're here in
My
Atlanta. I
pleasure.
mean, my weekend. Thank you for being here
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here.
and
Thank you.
being one of us anointed speaker. So many people spoke so well about your presentation.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to get the CD or DVD.
Good, good. I'm encouraged.
Well, Pastor Bunny, you been in marketplace ministry. You're a senior pastor, been a businessman, been in market ministry for years. Could you kind of tell us about what you do and what you've done over the years?
I've always had a passion for business. Even as a young man, I received Christ, and then I was torn between being a preacher or being a business person. I chose to be a business person. But then God later in my life called me into the pulpit ministry. I again believe all people are in ministry. If they're Christian, they're called. So it was a combination of taking two things that I have a passion for, is the church and in the marketplace, and seeing God is bringing them together. And I can see a lot of business people, having been one. I spent quite a few years in business. By the way, the world standard, I had experienced some success in it, but I studied it as a business person, what principles work, then looked at the Bible and what principles work there, and found out that they were the same. Not all principles are used in the world are good, but they're not all bad either. There's a lot of good things that business people do. So as you do with Nehemiah, I saw that we don't throw away all of the baby, as we say, with the bath water. We look and see what is of God and then bring it into a biblical setting and find in the Bible that those principles are there for managing, running, building, and instructing a business or an enterprise. It may be business or otherwise.
And from there, you've built this marketplace ministry that really equipped. Tell us about what your ministry does in helping entrepreneurs.
Okay, our ministry has, we call it Marketplace Alliance, and we really like to be in the company of entrepreneurs. We have what we call the 7 basic biblical principles for success. And they are the principles that were not uncommon to us, but the perspective or the approach is more from a marketplace setting than in the church setting, if you will. And so those principles have been built around the marketplace. Then we have another one which is for entrepreneurs who are already in business, who want to be around other biblical-based entrepreneurs. And that's where Nehemiah fit right in the middle for our package of what we believe we want to have with Marketplace Alliance. The basic principles, building BE 1, 2, 3, and then for those who want to transition into, after they've established their business and started it, and they want to accelerate it, then we come together in what we call Marketplace Alliance Accelerator Program.
And let's talk about that, because it's important for people to be trained as entrepreneurs, whether they have existing businesses or are starting out to be kingdom entrepreneurs. But we find out that beyond the training, without that ongoing support and connecting with others, really your success rate is not as high. How important is that accelerator piece after the training?
Yeah,
and what do they get from it?
Absolutely. Your BE really does teach them and ground them in biblical entrepreneurship. But then when they get through with or pass through those principles, how does the interaction in the real world work? And so when you bring 12 people together for an entire year, they build quite a camaraderie and an accountability within themselves. And so they're able then to do problem solving at a level of others who are struggling with the same thing. But we teach them corporately how God thinks corporately, how God thinks organizationally, where BE 1 and 2 teaches them how to plan it, prepare it, and now how do we manage, build our organization greater. And so there's the distinction, I think.
And that kind of works with the whole Dominion mandate, because whatever you build, you got to be able to scale it. And so you get into what does it take, the corporate structure, and really scaling that piece.
Absolutely. Once an organization, you see, God is the CEO, or He is the chairman of the board of His organization. Jesus called Himself a CEO. He said, "This is my church." and I will build it. Well, the fact that he was going to build it meant that there was a process. And in that process of building, we find that that is where you need to learn where an organization is at any given time. You can't take the same techniques and continue to use them over and over again. You've got to change as the organization changes.
Pastor Bunny, I'm an entrepreneur. I may
Yes.
have gone through BE or may have gone through BE. I have a kingdom business or desire to be one, and I want to know why be a part of Marketplace Alliance. What are some key things I'll get from it? Sell it to me.
Well, I think Marketplace Alliance, excuse me, and in starting with the basic principles, and then the BE or Nehemiah, but the Accelerator, what you will get a kingdom vision of the way God wants us to think organizationally. Usually most people present things in an individual basis, but the Bible is a corporate book.
Yes, it is.
And God is teaching us tactics and strategies. So you begin to align your strategy with the strategy of God. And I think it brings that revelation that people have not experienced before. I didn't think of God as an entrepreneur. How did he deal with this issue? How did he deal with when he couldn't get the right people or he couldn't get them to respond the right way? His organization hit different levels. How did he expand it? And so you get application organizationally into your particular personal organization that God's given you to manage.
And what's awesome is that you have experience in finance and all these things. So you know that those high levels, and then you have experience as a pastor and an apostle.
Absolutely.
You understand the Bible and the kingdom. You kind of bring those two together.
Yeah, no question that I was very ambitious for business and had a lot of drive and did a lot of education. Did do and studied it and spent a year with American Management Association doing strategic planning. And it came out of that understanding of the strategic planning. Our company was growing very large, and we realized that we did not understand the dynamics that were changing. We were still trying to do what we'd always done, but do it in a more passionate way or try to work harder. Well, you can't work hard enough, you know. And so then we began to realize that there were stages that organizations go through. So that's where I was able to bring that organizational training and structure into the pastoral part of the heart for the people and say, oh God, how do I blend these together? And then Marketplace Ministries evolved, as you know, in these last 20 years, that's been part of that process.
Now, how do I get involved? I want to be part of the Accelerator. What do I do? Okay,
the Accelerator we believe, is a tremendous value. You make an application for the Accelerator. We select 12 people to work with for an entire year, for 1 day a month. We work with them. We teach them, and then we show them how to apply that to their organization so that when they leave at the end of that work day, and it's a work day, and it's built upon a pattern of interactive teaching and processing. So when they leave there, they leave with an implementation plan. For that reason, we allow them to bring people in their organization that particular lesson might apply to. If it's marketing, finance, team building, people building, then that way it allows the continuity for it to happen. So once you're in there, we do a lot of, before we actually begin the session, which we'll begin one in this January of 2011, a new one, but we look at the people, their personalities and how they fit and their background, their leadership styles and all of that. Then we begin, like I say, at that point by putting them in teams together so that they learn team leadership along with learning the principles of how to change their business. So application, we charge there's $500 for in the beginning that solidifies your position, and then there's a monthly fee of $500 per month for a year after that. That includes the 1 day session, executive coaching, high-level executive coaching that we contract outside to do that during the month. And then once a quarter, we sit down and do a total recap with just entrepreneur, and I do, and Robin and I do, where we see where they are. And we know pretty much after we've worked with them for a little while where they are and where they need to change. And then provide resources for them that they need.
Thank you so much, Apostle.